The Victoria government has denied tennis world number one Novak Djokovic has received special treatment after he was granted a medical exemption to play in this month's Australian Open. After months of speculation, the defending champion posted on social media confirming he was heading down under.
He's been dubbed Novak's Djokovic on social media, but the world number one stance on vaccines won't preclude him from competing in a city that's faced some of the harshest COVID restrictions in the world.
Today's news may be maddening to you. I want to reassure you that no one's had special treatment.
The state government had said only double-dosed players would be allowed into Melbourne Park, but last night the Serbian star announced he would defend his title, posting on Twitter, "Today I'm heading down under with an exemption permission. Let's go 2022.
I don't think it's fair.
It's just the same rules for everyone. It shouldn't be based on privilege.
It should be mandatory for everyone.
Djokovic receiving one of just a handful of exemptions granted after 26 applied. Tennis Australia adamant no weight was given to star power.
No one knew who the applicant was. That was reviewed and assessed and then passed on to the second panel.
Some in the tennis community remain sceptical.
I think if it was me that wasn't vaccinated, I wouldn't be getting an exemption.
Look, I just think it's just very interesting. That's all I'm going to say.
Two separate panels of medical experts agreed Djokovic met the criteria. As per ATAGI guidelines, those who've shown an adverse response to a COVID vaccine, who have an acute medical condition like a recent major surgery or have recovered from COVID in the last 6 months are eligible for an exemption. Djokovic had COVID in 2020.
The process has been incredibly robust and I have confidence in it.
Social media platforms exploded with posts expressing disgust and utter disbelief at the decision. Tennis Australia and the Victorian government appealing to Novak Djokovic to make public the medical condition that's made him eligible for the exemption, saying Melbourne is owed that much.
It's the government's expectation that when he does arrive, he explains to the Victorian community what's the circumstances.
Djokovic will not have to quarantine as arrivals with medical exemptions are treated the same as vaccinated travellers, meaning he'll be ready to play on day 1, January 17.
And Abby Dinham joins us now from Melbourne Park. Abby, good evening. Victorian authorities gave the green light to Novak Djokovic, but there's been a development from federal authorities. What more can you tell us?
As Djokovic thought he had the all clear, this afternoon Karen Andrews, the Home Affairs Minister, issued a statement saying while Victoria and Tennis Australia could grant an exemption for an unvaccinated player to compete at the Australian Open, ultimately it's Commonwealth authorities who are enforcing Australia's vaccine restrictions at the border, and there would be no special treatment given for tennis players. And then just in the last hour or so, the Prime Minister took it a step further, saying when Djokovic arrives in Melbourne, he will have to prove to Australian Border Force that he is indeed eligible for a medical exemption or face being turned away from the country.
So we await his presentation and what evidence he provides to support that. If that evidence is insufficient, then he won't be treated any different to anyone else and he'll be on the next plane home. So there should be no special rules for Novak Djokovic at all, none whatsoever.
So with Djokovic due to arrive in Melbourne in just the next few hours, his participation at the Australian Open is once again in doubt.